Are we good now? So. I think so. Turn that off. We don't need that one. Select live. No upcoming streams found. Yay. That's the best. Select live stream. No upcoming streams found. Auto find and activate. Oh, well, it worked now. Hard to catch a break on this. Copy link. Hey! Oh my god, my voice works now. Yeah, we do have training classes. Okay, blades are good. We have an Elantra. And we would be doing a windshield, but unfortunately it's got a big old crack in it. So we're going to be doing everything else. All the sides and the rear. I was just about to get started, and then we got an order of tint slip in. That big old pallet over there. Raise that up. You know, these are tighter door windows. I'm actually going to hand cut this because of that. I just don't know where the plotter is going to land. So I would much rather know exactly where these patterns are going to go. We're going to do 5. We are going dark. C2 ceramic. And we have a lovely new gel, actually, to try. So we're going to be using that in place of Insta-Gel. .36-inch roll going on. We're going to split this in half. Line it up right about there. What's the training typically cost? So we have a few different programs. We have single-day sessions. I look at 313tint.com. It helps outline the differences, and it'll show you like available dates and how to schedule, because you can do it right from there. But we have a full 3-day like beginner style course that comes with a tool set, and then we have single day sessions where you can pick and choose what you want to practice on. It's like the day is yours, and you don't need any set structure. It's just, you're new to tinting, okay, let's do a crash course in automotive. Hey, I've been tinting for a while, and I want to brush up on some things, or I'm having problems shrinking back windows and front windshields. Like, we can spend a full day on that, split it up any which way that you want. A lot of people come out to learn about flat glass on those. Let's shorten this up a little bit more. Let's see where that is. Good. Okay, so I'm going to cut this side. I don't really have any rubber. It's just plastic, but this is a really wide seal. I don't want to go in too far just because of how tight the sides are. They're like the The Kia K series. It's probably built on the same platform. I'm just guessing from the look of everything. And then we're going to slide this over about 1/4 of an inch. Just enough to go into all the plastic, cover all our gaps. Just doesn't want to cut against that today. There we go. We're going to slide this over. Tack these together. So we're not going very far down into the seal either. They're only a little bit offset, and then this area is just a bit tighter, and I'm going to make things a little bit easier rather than more difficult. So tucking down a super far distance is just going to make everything else, including tucking the sides, more annoying. Beautiful. Right? Yes. Very nice. Libman and scrub pad. I was doing a comparison, and I let them dry overnight. I'm going to do another one with another gel. We're going to see how they run, how they dry, how thick they are. There's always a lot of questions around that. Is that straight? Sometimes it gets so close, it's really hard to tell if it get that like dental floss width or smaller. We'll test fit it. Go straight up and straight over, round that corner some. There, that's good. I'm gonna see in that front. Sometimes the glass dips up, sometimes it dips down, sometimes it goes perfectly straight. See, that's nice and close. And on this one, I think it goes right in line with it. That's nice. Okay, cool. We got it. We're gonna split these apart. Legendary premium tinting specialty broadcast. You should name a film line. Uber Select Nano Ceramic Ultra Premium Clear Window Tint. See how long of a name you can get. Okay, well, stream is working, stuff is working. Every time I feel like I get it all ironed out, stuff starts breaking. So it's nice to see that so far everything is working. I think for a minute there, I was getting stutters. And I'm pretty sure my little capture card here, if it gets too hot, it would start stuttering. Which is never fun. So I have a fan on it, and that seems to have fixed most of it. Did you guys see there's a new GoPro announcement? I haven't used the GoPro in a long time. What killed all the modern ones, and this is like such an annoying bummer, is they would just overheat. Nothing, I put heat sinks on it. I tried a whole bunch of stuff. Tried using it without a battery and just plugged in an external pack. After 30, 40 minutes, no matter what you were doing, it would overheat. Even on like a cool day. Bigger sensor. Improved thermals. We'll see. We'll see. I'll give them a shot. We'll see if they actually work. I was having fun with the Osmo. But ever since I moved to this streaming setup, the Osmo just does not connect and stream consistently. It stutters and goes in like slow motion. I don't know what it is. Do you pocket shrink windshields? No. You can. I don't. Pocket shrinking, you can do wet or dry. You see it, it's like the must do technique if you're wet shrinking, or at least the most common thing that you're gonna see. There we go. But wet versus dry shrinking, dry you have a more even plane to shrink, but you can still pocket shrink. It's what they do for 3M crystalline. It's just not as common. It works. A lot of the videos that people post of the fast shrinking already have everything pre-set up in bigger fingers with like pockets in them. So pocket shrinking would be starting at the edge of the glass and kind of working your way in. It's a cool looking way of doing stuff. All right, we're gonna see if some new gel is gonna help us out on this one. I don't really need to as much on the doors, but I want to try it on everything like I did with the other ones. Look at that. Look at that thickness on this one. I could do it on the top. Do I do it on the top? Yeah, let's start without. Just hit the sides and see what happens. But with that process of snap shrinking, are you generally just shrinking the bottom of the film? It's very universal. If you have an obscene curve at the bottom, you can still snap shrink, but you're going to handle it just a little bit differently. Ooh. Okay, that was nice. Didn't I just bitch about it sticking inside the edges in the last live stream a little bit? Oh, this gives me that like, ooh, that's nice. That was nice. That was nice. Cut looks good. Just goes splooge out of the window. That's gross. Wiggle, wiggle. It's pretty pinched on the sides, though. Can you see? So look at this top edge. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but like if I wiggle the film, if it moves, I don't roll it up yet. I want to make sure that it freezes in place. Because when you roll it up, it pinches up here, right? It's a seal. It wants to put downwards pressure. So what can happen is it can push your pattern out of alignment, and we don't want that. I'm gonna make sure that sticks. Explanation between two-stage and bottom loading. So two-stage is what we're doing right now. It's a more universal way to tint, but the trade-off is extra steps and extra frustrations trying to get the pattern installed nice and clean. This is how I learned, and I still prefer to do this way because I just am less of a fan of disassembling vehicles, even though a lot of what I would say is an easy car for me to two-stage would be also an easy car to disassemble. So it's really just like a time trade-off on that. A time and a little risk in, hey, when you're new to taking that specific vehicle apart or new to it in general, you're going to have some accidents. That's just how it's going to go. But if we pull the bottom seal on this, then the installation is far simpler. You just peel the entire pattern and install it all together. So the trade-offs are, if you leave the obstacle in place, which is the bottom seal, the installation is more complicated, but you didn't have to take anything apart. If you pull the bottom seal, installation is far easier, but how hard was it to remove that seal on that particular vehicle? That process is a little less universal because every manufacturer, every vehicle can be different. But, you know, you just put the time into learning one versus the other. So, taking apart a door might come with a little risk of taking apart the door and breaking something. But also, if I suck at two-staging, then I have an actual cost of, you know, oh, I fucked that window up, I've got to redo it. So that's costing me material and time as well. So they're just trade-offs. Might get a new tri-edge here. Any advice on starting to stream my tint jobs? Take the phone that you were typing a comment and click go live. That's honestly the best. Get yourself a little monopod stand, I'd say would be the other thing. So you can just take this, move it around with you. Or if you would rather put it on your neck, which is kind of obnoxious to tint with, but I don't have to carry the phone around and move it. Well, I mean, I don't have to move another physical stand for it. But there's not much to getting started. Every platform made it really easy to just click go live from. How much did you charge? This one, all the sides and the rear is in the C2 ceramic, so we're not doing the windshield today, so that's $350 and then plus $100 for the sunroof. What's the difference with ceramic? Good question. Ceramic helps block additional heat. There's a layer in there that helps filter out / absorb. It filters it from just going straight through to the cabin. It absorbs it into the glass. So when you're sitting in the car, you run your air. That sun doesn't just pass through through the glass to your interior and stuff. It gets absorbed into the glass and kind of radiates off the car, into the car some. If it's not magic, if you're sitting out in a parking lot, your car is a metal box, your car will still get hot. All right, let's cut out another pattern. Does it shed water faster? No, it's on the inside. It actually really has no other magical properties to it. There's a lot of snake oily things that are said about ceramic as far as clarity, longevity, this, that, and the other thing. The thing is, you can have good quality films in any category. Dyed, carbon, ceramic, metallized, they can all be good. They can all be clear. They can all last a long time. The main trade-offs are going to be how they manage heat. Some films will obviously be clearer than others, but it's less about the material and more about that, it's less about the category. When I say material, I mean it's less about is it carbon versus ceramic, and it's more about that specific carbon, the fineness of the carbon used, the manufacturing process behind that film. So you can have just an excellent dyed film, but dye doesn't have anything about it that's gonna block heat. Illinois. I'm not too far, but yeah, it is kind of a drive. Car supplies warehouse. Check them out. I know it's like what? It's a distribution place. They're super cool. They have a film line called Optical for PPF, and they install Lumar window films over there. Super, super cool company in place. Check them out. I actually haven't had a chance to visit that location in person, and I really want to go. How much does it help to cool the cabin if you tint the front windshield? Is it worth it? So the way I look at ceramic might be a little different than some other people look at it. I think these films are most effective for wherever you're sitting. Like I said, they're not magical. They're not going to keep your car cold out in a hot parking lot. It's still a metal box. What it does is the sun is beaming, and if there's nothing there, sun passes straight through, hits your interior. Your whole interior heats up, obviously. But also, where you're sitting, you feel that sun hit your skin. So if you don't have ceramic, you feel that. If you have ceramic, when the sun cuts in that window, you immediately feel it, and it gets irritating. So ceramic's really nice if you're the driver. It's especially nice on the front two doors and the full windshield. If you have kids, it's obviously best where your passengers are, for them. Doing the entire car, keeping it measurably cooler, I think is, like, will it? Yes, especially when you're moving and you have the air running. But how measurably cooler will it be? That's what's always kind of like, I think, really hard to measure. You have your paint color, you have the ambient temperature. So it does keep your cabin cooler when everything else is running and you're moving. But where you're like really, as a consumer, going to notice a huge effect is just going to be tinting the glass around where you're sitting. Think of it like holding up an umbrella to the sun, right? Like putting a shade up. You just don't feel that sun anymore, right? So that's effectively what you're doing with ceramic window films. You're putting up some type of invisible shade, and you just don't feel that sun radiating through it anymore. Makes it much more comfortable. Most people, like, it's less of a sales pitch. It's harder of a sales pitch the way I talk about it. But what has always given me a lot of reassurance, and for myself, is when you drive with it and then you just roll your window down, you just notice a huge difference. So like you go in a vehicle that has it, you get used to it, and then you remove it and you're like, oh God, I can really feel the difference now. I have to have it again. There's a ton of repeat business from it. Once somebody has it, they generally can't go back to not having it. Visionary window tint. The living legend. I don't know what to say to that. Thank you. Dong. All right, so I got another set of patterns. I'm gonna see how these line up. Is there any tint more effective than ceramic? No, ceramic's the top of the line option, and what they've done is add another layer of ceramic, so you can have a multi-layer ceramic. But from a just like what is window film capable of doing? You have visible light that goes in the car, and then you have solar energy that goes in the car. You can block that and radiate that off of the car. Or like you can block that, absorb it into the glass, and that radiates off of the car somewhat. But you can also reflect heat away, which would be a mirror. So there are some films that will trade off a more black look with a slightly mirrored look. That's going to give you a little bit more heat dissipation, like it's going to reflect it away from the car so it never absorbs. It's going to be a little bit better for managing heat, but the aesthetic is the trade-off. But on homes, you see that just about every architectural film has, well, every architectural film really has reflectance to it. I've noticed 5% all around isn't dark with 35 on the windshield. When the sun is beaming, your windshield 5 lightens up, so I got it retinted to 35 over 5 all around. Now I can't see nothing. It depends on who you say that to. 5% all around is not is plenty dark, but yeah, if you like, you're still letting 5% of the light through. So extreme angles when it's really bright, or you're looking straight through, and the clouds are just right, you can definitely see into it. Some, like a little bit. if you try. But just like you said, the trade-off is if you go darker than that, it's harder and like then practicality becomes an issue. We have a 2%. 2% is twice as dark. Actually, a little bit more than twice as dark as 5%. It's only 3 digits off, but that makes a huge difference. Had a client call me, ask about ceramic tint, and I said the main difference in performance, and he asked if it added horsepower. That is, yes, it always adds 5 more horsepower. That's just oh, absolutely. Dude, I remember all the eBay stuff I used to look at in high school. The K&N air filter, cold air intake. You had like a magnetic thing that you could put on a fuel line. You had those gizmos that plugged into your OBD2 or something and would just make a shitty car run shittier. This resistor will give you 10 more horsepower. Racing stripes, obviously, +5. It is an Elantra. My text-to-speech voice went, Elantra. Oh, I'm so glad I got my voice working again. It would have been completely broken going into today. I had to switch it to another service. It's using the Open AI voice, or at least one of them. I've got a bunch to choose from. God, text-to-speech voices used to be so robotic-y. Now they're awesome. You can have them sound almost like anything you want. All right, I'm gonna gel this. Nice. I'm gonna do should I do a little, I didn't need to, I'm not gonna do on the top. We're just gonna do the sides again. Just slid around enough. Have you done Bentleys or Rolls Royce? I've done one Rolls Royce and a couple Bentleys. I did taillights on a Bentley before. They just do goofy things on cars like that. Like there's a lot of, the Bentleys were more simple. The Rolls Royce, it's all big panels and stuff kind of get in the way, depending on the model. But it's been a while. It wasn't a new one when I did it either. For whatever reason, those customers, they're a different customer. They're less interested about just window tints and afterthought. It's like, I want to do color change PPF. I want to do other like full high-end detailing paint correction with a PPF package, and oh yeah, let's throw some tint on it. Pretty sure that's why I just don't really see many of those. I'm a very good tint shop, but when you have a shop that is a very good tint shop and does the other things, then it's just more convenient. And then they plant themselves in a little bit of a nicer area too. So it's just easier to get that business. Okay. What's the hardest car? I try and block them out of my memory. You have your typical like Corvettes. This wasn't the most difficult, but one of the more difficult cars that I had within like recent memory was a Honda Prelude, I think it was. It was a 90s. The back window was kind of extra tall, and it had this backwards curve and a wiper that kind of swung into it as well. It just took me 5.5 to 6 hours to do that car start to finish. It was a 2-door car, and I'm just like jumping in and out of it like a million times for that back window. And then we did the full windshield on it as well. It's just like, you just got a bunch of, there's always curveballs on stuff like that. But the hardest cars are always like situations that I'm unsure how good of a result I'm actually going to get. And they get really frustrating. You're just like, I know this is going to be a pain in the butt, and I never want to see this again. And when I'm done with it, I'm just like, thank God it's out of my life. Give me Malibus all day. Malibus are fantastic. But cars like this are my, in line with my bread and butter. Seemed like a 2-door would be easier. Yeah, it's 2 doors, but it comes with extra issues. So I have to get a piece of film into the car, and I have to lean the seats forward, and now I only have this much space to squeeze in between what room the seat will give me and the rest of the car. And then I have to get to a back glass that slopes way farther down. And the rear seat also was not a bench seat like this. It was 2 buckets with a thing in the middle. So now I don't really even have a great place to kind of put myself and stretch and put that. Like, there's just stuff in the way. And then on a 2-door, your doors are wider and extra curved. And there can be magical, annoying trade-offs with that, or magical, annoying irritations that are just like, well, that was stupid. Oh, you know what car that I had? Definitely not the hardest car that I've ever had to tint. But we just had a IS 350 in here, a 2011. Dude, I don't know what it is about that glass, but that glass was ridiculously sticky. And when I put the film on the glass, it just stuck. Torched it, didn't matter. I had to use about 1.5 ounces more soap and then spray every window with gel on top of it, with a little soap added to the gel. Doors were extra curvy, and basically, like, I still 2-stage the rear ones, and any little bits are just coming out of everywhere, extra dirty everything. The car wasn't in bad shape. It's just like the panels on that car actually melt, and a lot of the interior seems to do the same thing. GM trucks are the easiest. Yeah, GM F-150s can be really easy. They trade blows on windshields. Some of them are super easy, and some of them are kind of annoying. Like Ford does the foam strip on some of them. That can be frustrating. I have tint on my car. Can I put darker tint on it? Yeah. But not every shop is going to warranty something like that or do that. So that's the only trade-off. I would absolutely install tint over it. But if you had something peel or fail, tint's not made to stick to tint. It's generally fine, though. But if something peels, then you're on your own. Is the back window of a truck hard? Generally, no. Older ones can be. Like the older F-250s definitely can be. It's easier to pop out the back window than just to tint it as is. I don't do that personally, but I've had somebody do it for me, and it was great. I was like the last shop for that one. New Hondas are the easiest sedans. Unless they stop making the Malibu. No, some of them are super easy. Yep, I agree. They're definitely really straightforward. As long as they're not putting the front quarters on them. And like, remember the Civic Type R? Then they got rid of doing that whole crazy back window thing. Thankfully. Where'd you get the floor tiles from? These are Race Deck. Newbie. Oh, looking to ask a tint shop if they need help tinting. Would it be better to show up in person? Yeah, absolutely. Ask to talk to whoever is in charge. Just, and don't be hurt. Don't be bummed out if they say no. Most tint shops are just privately owned. Now would be a really good time to go around asking because everybody's getting busier. It's spring. They're looking for additional help. But there's no rules to this. On like what you would get paid and anything like that. Everything is up to the shop. But some of them are just very hesitant to say yes to new people and train them outright because a lot of those new people obviously want to be tinters and will sometimes only hang around long enough to learn how to tint and be useful. And then they peace out and go start their own thing. So that shop just put time and money into you. And then they just, train some additional competition. But yeah, when you're looking for a job anywhere, try anything that you can to cut through the line. My dad actually taught me that early on. He'd always say, like, I'd put in some applications places and then I didn't hear anything, and he's like, don't do that. Just literally like fill one out and go to talk to, don't hand it to anybody but a store manager or whoever's in charge there. If they're not there, ask when they come in. What a shop always wants to see, or a small business, is just like, dude, I don't want to have to go through like a stack of papers and interviews and time. I just want to find somebody to fill a position. So somebody that's just like eager with a good attitude, sold. Hang on. I gotta let this pump up for a sec. There we go. Best cheap tint to use is practice. There's a film on Amazon called T-View. And it's just inexpensive dyed film with a similar thickness. Good to practice with. Under $100 for like a, 36-inch by 100-foot roll. I don't know how long it would last on somebody's car, but I think it's a great film to practice with. Gonna crash my car through the garage to make sure the owner knows I'm here. Insta-gel or important sauce thoughts? Okay, I can give you like an actual comparison if you just let me get through this window. The biggest difference between those two are price and thickness. Insta-gel was made with window tinting in mind, but is mainly a PPF product. But it gives you the same type of thing. It's safe to use on window film. It's just not, it's not the same thickness. So these gels are really helpful because they build up a gunky barrier. I say gunky, but like a thick barrier along the edges. That helps keep the debris from flowing back in along the sides and wherever you spray it. Another thing is it can also help your film to slide better because it's keeping the adhesive from just touching the window. But a gallon of important is $130. Instagel is $40. So gels help, but It depends on really the state of the vehicle. Any gel's going to help substantially. A thicker one is going to help keep extra debris out of the edges. I'm using one today called OptiGlide, and I will show you the thickness difference. OptiGlide's going to be the same price as Instagel. It's not mine. I didn't make it. Is wrapping cars more difficult than tinting? There's many, many trade-offs. Wrapping cars, obviously if you're doing full cars, is just a lot more time and work per vehicle. And sometimes, like, that time and money that you make off of that one isn't the same as doing lots of tint jobs. So, in general, if I was like wrapping a hood versus wrapping versus tinting a windshield, tinting a windshield is going to be harder to learn. But wrapping a bumper might be the same type of skill, depending on the bumper, or harder than learning how to tint a windshield. But overall, tinting just has more demand. It's not as high of a price point and more just in demand across like every vehicle versus wrap. Somebody has to want to change the color of their car. And then also after, 3-4 years go by, that wrap should probably be replaced as well, where the window tint will be fine. But for wrap, I think the commercial stuff is where the real money is at. Just get a commercial account. You can do so many things. You can do fleets, you can do buildings, like advertising, that kind of stuff. We had a guy that owned a graphics company come in for the window tint class because he just wanted to learn. He's got an account with Prada in his area, and he just once a month reprints advertisements that go, like the big window graphics that go on their buildings. Just every month they get a new one. Windows is harder, a lot more confined areas, and insanely easy to mess up. Yeah, that's very true. But the amount of time you even deal with doing that versus all the intricate pieces around a car, like that's where like that scale really starts to flip. So it's like I could probably learn how to wrap everything easier overall, but it's just going to take me so much more in material and time. Yeah, a commercial account. So I don't know. I couldn't tell you exactly who to talk to in a company, but so many companies have company vehicles, fleets, and buildings. So there was a shop nearby that moved to even a better part of town in a bigger building. He was a window tinter primarily, got into graphics, and then he slowly but surely started getting like company clients. So he got a job, and they would send him the shells of the quad skis. They were quad bikes that turned into jet skis, and he would just they had like 20 shells for him to wrap. And it's just the same thing over and over again. And each one is like $5,000 or something like that. I don't know, like $3,000 to $5,000 to wrap it. Or a company, like a food delivery service, has a fleet of vans. What, Factor? Factor's the most recent one that I've been seeing around. Those vans all get wrapped with the same thing over and over again. So they're gonna call a wrap shop and just like, all right, we've got 100 vehicles we need wrapped. How soon can you do them? So the more business like that you can get, I'd say makes wrapping, all in all, way more worth it. Probably takes a little bit of the fun out of it because it's the same thing over and over again, but it's good money. Just like in window tint, like we do cars. The real money's in flat glass. How many windows are there on a hotel? How many people's approval do I have to get to tint a hotel versus the equivalent in cars? Like, just square footage. Mark's got one. I know, it's just nuts. Which path is the smartest to go? Flat glass.
No. More for me.
Yeah. And it's purely just because I don't want to go out and do it. I like staying in my cave. Well, on a job like that, yeah.
This is different because everything's right here. You're just like window to window to window.
Yeah.
You don't have to move stuff.
Yeah, I think commercial buildings far more than houses. Houses, you have enough variety that in like different windows at different heights and shapes and size. It's more challenging, and you're dealing with somebody's home. A commercial building is just very cut and dry.
I forgot to tell you, I'm guessing the tinners did this. They use some sort of like butyl, or like strip cloth around the edges of the windows.
Ew. Oh, yuck.
And it's disgusting.
Yuck.
I'm literally using like a drywall tool to scrape and scoop it out. But it's on top of the tin.
Do you still have a gap at the end of it? Like after you get it all scraped, you get something tinted. Is there still like a little gap that goes around the window?
There will be, yeah. And some of them, their gap is outside of that. I don't know if it's changed over time, but just in the 20 windows we tinted out, I think there were 4 different types of fill.
Oh, wow.
So I think at some point somebody went through and like redid all the bad ones. Because some of them pull off super easy.
Oh, so even like, yeah.
And some of them, even the bubbles pull off super easy. And then the next one will be completely smooth and leaves come good.
Damn.
A little inconsistent, but the time, still the worst ones are 7 or 8 minutes. Not
I still need to get in touch with a molding manufacturer to do some type of window trim.
for commercial, it would be easy. Just because
Yep.
the frames are metal.
Yeah, just some type of like rubber silicone trim that would just have a flexible, bendable edge, and you just stick tape it all the way around. and then it just like, yeah, it'll just give you like a nice, almost like 45-degree edge around the whole window.
It would have, the surface that touches the glass would have to be black, because you can see it from the outside.
Yeah. Yep. I noticed that with this. If it's like gray or silver, yeah, it'd look ugly from the outside.
Yeah, it can tape to the frame side, because they're aluminum. They're located in the frame. It's gonna stick to that forever. Not like,
That would probably, you could probably get one to do the same and just offset the edge. So you could stick it on the frame or flip it and have it stick on the tinted side. I don't know how good or bad that would be long term though.
well, if it's on the glass side, though, it just has to be black tape,
Yeah.
or or a black piece with clear tape.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it would hurt it, but it's just you don't really know until it's on there for like 2 to 3 years or whatever. But I think it should be fine.
Dude, you know what? I guarantee this could be done. You could do it like you do seamless gutters, where it comes on a gigantic spool, and it just gets formed, and you have a little machine.
Yeah, and you-
pull it to shape. You pull it to shape, and you pull out however long you need. So you don't have. You don't need a pull out a piece of shape.
Oh yeah,
But it's on like a 500-foot spool.
yeah. It'd be on a spool, and then you have like a 45-degree cutter, and
Yep.
yeah, just trim it. So then you can. Yep.
No, I'm thinking if you did like a metal one that are light gutters, like that type of material.
Yeah.
That's folded in shape. Charge extra for it.
Yeah. If there's the demand for it.
I can't see there being a demand for it.
Yeah, I think just even selling people on the idea of putting trim around it is enough of a barrier that like some people could be like, oh, okay, yeah, because I have gaps, and now you can actually cut it a little bit shy, making your install far easier, and then just put a trim around it. Everything has trims.
If I knew that I had that much leeway, I would either plot out or use I would cut my pieces the exact size that they need to be, or slightly smaller, and have no trimming on the window, and just install pre-cut, pre-sized pieces. And then throw those up through the button.
Yeah. Cutting a perfect 45, like the tool's fine, because like we use it for all the, like you basically just have an angled scissors like we do for the channel squeegees. We have that tool, but trying to get that edge to line up perfect is what I'd be a little fuzzy about. Overlap, mark it with a pencil or like a pen or something, and then like you could, but it's got to be like perfect. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know about the 3. Oh, really? I feel like plotters are more and more in demand every year.
Sold out of 3.
I'd mark like.
Oh, they do have the workhorse too.
I didn't like the workhorse. I don't feel like the workhorse 2 is just worth it. Like compared to, and that's what I tell people, the 1, but also Marketplace is still like such a good place to find a machine. Marketplace or the Jag. It'd be a bit probably much. You could get a 40-inch. Do you need a 60 or you need a 40?
I could do a 40. 140 windows are 30
Why don't you just use this? Or you want something on site?
Yeah, I want something on site.
Oh.
Otherwise, I could. I mean, that's a good standard.
Well, I know you could call Jason and get a good deal on a graph deck. A 40-inch machine.
Well, I've seen some on the marketplace. Somebody has like a 40-inch graph tech. They have 4 of them for $2,000 each.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's solid.
They were all new in 2018, and
Okay.
they all work great, but they just upgraded these levels.
So what series? 8600?
Uh,
Probably.
I think it was like CE 8600 or something.
Oh. I don't know if the beginning numbers was a CE or an FC. I would check that.
Well, it wasn't, whatever ours is, it wasn't that.
Yeah, not the 9000, but if it was an 8600, I feel like that machine's a little better than the 9000. For a few reasons. How much soap do you put in your water? I do 1 ounce per gallon in most cases. If it's sticky, I'll add a little bit more. And this is the soap that I use, Tint Slip.
Oh no, they would work with 30-inch
Ew.
FC 8600.
Okay. The FC 8600 is a good machine. Rick has one of those at Tint Squad. And you can put the rollers on standby over on the left. So you can have only 2 active rollers if you want. It doesn't have to keep finding all 4. And the crosscut was faster. Still didn't really use crosscut, but it was much faster. My dad's shop has an FC 9000 from my videos, and they got that in 2005, and I think that's still the machine that they use every day. There's probably been over 50,000 cars pumped through that thing. All the mistakes and reprints, and good God, dude, it's just been going for years. I used to only 2-step because of map, but one day I took a seal out and I never went back. Hey, that's perfectly fine. And I will preach this over and over again. This is the way that I do it, and I like it, how universal it is. Some people are more mechanically inclined, or just like would rather just take a seal out or pop some screws and whatnot out and just do that, and that's fine. That's just not what I prefer to do. Both ways are perfectly valid. So at the classes, if people have not touched window film before or installed anything, we actually now at this point we make them bottom load first, because we've noticed it's so much harder for somebody that's never touched film before to understand what they're doing with 2 staging. We teach both, but it's like, okay, let's Sharpie some patterns, let's get some patterns installed and see how you do with that, and then we'll do the other way. Tips to keep from getting air locked when bottom loading. More slipperiness. I'd be way more inclined to spray a little gel. So you roll down the window, it's cleaned, and then hit the sides with some gel. I do that for 2 staging, but I'd be more inclined to spray a little bit down in this area. You can spray it on the whole window too, but just use a little bit extra, add a little additional soap, because that film is sliding much farther than doing a 2-stage. So if your film grabs the glass, I would either more soap, torch the window, and offset with some gel. Electric tape? No, it's Glass Aid Cut Guard. So it's thicker, actually. Yeah, it's thicker and harder than your average electrical tape. I started there. I first tried doing electrical tape. Electrical tape is too wide, and it cuts through too easily. So this is more in line with like a very thick pinstriping. It's 10 mil, and I use it to outline the border so I can see it easier, and then it prevents my knife from cutting on the window. I don't scratch windows anymore. Okay, so that's drying. One additional thing we're doing is the sunroof, and I got a roll of film. I'm gonna see what we have for patterns. Oh, FC, that's not what I want. Update later. Tesla, Jetta, Mustang. So we're going to look up a I don't put soap in my water. I put water in my soap. Dude, I used so much soap at one point. When I like switching to different films and baby shampoo, and the glass was like super sticky. And I just like I felt like I was doing that. Felt like I was adding water to my soap so much that like you spray it and your hands are slipping everywhere. It's not staying on the window, and then your eyes are burning. Is this right? This is just like a rectangle. Really? I mean, I guess we'll send it and see. They got it in there as the sunroof, so it better be the sunroof. But we should probably find the right shade. C2 ceramic 5. What? Oh, okay. I had 2 boxes of it. My bad. I don't know how that happened, but I had 2 open boxes. I was better about keeping inventory when it was all in a vehicle. If you use Glass Aid, then it doesn't matter if you use carbon or stainless steel blades. No, in theory it doesn't. Just make sure you're not cutting through the tape, because a blade is still strong. It will still cut. I still use stainless, even though I'm cutting on the tape. Just as a, oh, why am I doing that? Then it puts all my shrinking on the sides. Oh, I think I got a short roll for this. I didn't account for the curve. I know I have a short roll of 5, so I'm gonna use that. We're just doing the sunroof on that. I wouldn't make it a habit though to start using carbon. But in that case, it wouldn't make as much sense. There we go. You can just sunroof, go to cut board. We're just gonna leave it so it's square, 24-inch roll, pop it in the middle, and cut. But yeah, I wouldn't make it a habit to just start using carbon blades. They'll be a little less expensive, but so much of your cutting is done with stainless anyways. It's just safer. I triple cut a window once. I cut 2 patterns, and I also went ahead and cut the glass. So I had an outline in case I had to redo it. Okay, so I legitimately don't know which is the top or the bottom, or if that even matters. But it would be, this is the top, and that is the bottom. So I'll just try and keep that in mind. Did it snag? Yes, a little right here. Wait. Oh, dang it. I did screw up. Everything's in 5. Everything's in 5. Except for the sunroof. Sunroof should be in 20. I did one of those classic oopsies. Sunroof is already tinted, so we wanted to keep the shade kind of in line with everything else. So I just cut out 5, and I should have probably cut out 20. I triple cut. Oh no, I read that one. What do you recommend for Google Ads? Or who? Probably who? I haven't had a lot of variety with that. Union is doing my Google Ads, and I want to say we've had less leads lately. So I should probably look into that. For the longest time, we didn't run any, so I'm not the most fluent in ads. But I tried to set up my own, and then I saw what they did, and I can tell you, there's a fair amount of technical know-how that will optimize your ad spend a lot more. But the other important bit that I'd really like to play around with is the funnel page that all the ads go to. Because I feel like it's pretty generic. But at this point, any one of those Google ads is going to funnel somebody to another page. And you want that page to basically be a sales pitch to solve their problem. I have back pain. Well, do you have back pain? Yes. And then you like have a page set up that basically talks to that customer. It's the best type of setup. And I just feel like the page that we're sending people to could be better. But they've been good to work with. We get a fair amount of leads from them, and we definitely land those leads. Not all of them, but we definitely land some of them to make it worthwhile. What time is it? 1:30. Every time I cut the edges, it always moves jagged tips, or any tips for the jagged edges. Yeah, could be you're letting your knife pull back from the edge of the window, and then you should tack your pattern to the window when you cut the top edge. So if it's sliding out of place, you know, it's not going to hold in place with soapy water. We use soapy water to position the film, and it helps stick to the window that way while we're cutting it. But it's going to slide out of place unless you fix it in place. So before you cut it, tack it, and then while you're cutting your top edge, use the blade holder to keep the tint physically against the top edge while you're making that cut. If you're just using the blade, your hand's going to pull back and forth a little bit, and your angle's going to change too. But you want to rest it. Like, so if we were cutting the side edge, I'm not going to keep my blade out here. I'm going to put the blade holder all the way against the edge of the window, so it's physically holding the tint, and then the knife can cut. That'll stop the jaggedness from happening. What are you using the heat gun for? So this side is now molded to fit the curve of the window. This is what it looks like before that, just loose film. So if I try and stick this on the inside, it's just gonna not stick right and gonna look like shit. So we effectively melt it to fit the curve. Can you hire me just 'cause? No, just 'cause. I'm just using Walmart tint to practice. Would using quality carbon tint be easier? If it's a GeoShield carbon, definitely. But yeah, keyword is a quality carbon film in there. There's lots of cheap carbon films that don't shrink very well, that make life harder. No, I heat gun for side windows too, but there's less to shrink. Or are you putting it on the outside? I just want to see what'll happen. I think it'll be fine with it. That's a big brain question. How do you shrink the ceramic if it rejects the heat? Heat, the term heat rejection, it's just become so normal to hear. It's not really what's happening. Ceramic absorbs heat, carbon absorbs heat. Are you leaving? Are you leaving? Oh, okay. Yeah. So now we're going to trim our window. Okay, but with heat rejection, it's easy to say and it's easy for people to understand, but it's not really what's happening. It doesn't reject the heat, it absorbs the heat. But saying your car absorbs 95% of the heat doesn't sound good. And it's also not, like, there's a lot of things at play. So it's trying to simplify something so people can understand it, can kind of understand what they're going to experience with their car. Where things get kind of misleading is if somebody says, your car sitting out in the parking lot will just be cooler. That's not accurate. So ceramics absorb heat, carbons absorb heat, and then that heat dissipates off the glass, and it can dissipate in the car or off the car. When you have your air running and you're maintaining like a temperature in the car, it's much easier to maintain that temperature. And then also while you're driving, the wind is physically pulling the heat off of your car. But yeah, it's unfortunately not magical like the space shuttle tiles, which they'll just stay cool. It's not quite that technology. What do you recommend for working on rear windshields? That's what I need to work on. Tools, I use this Wagner heat gun. It's like $30. And then I like these Pros cards. They're really nice. We have a snuggle dryer sheet underneath, and we have a lot of videos dedicated to just shrinking that'll help explain everything that you need to do for it. I've been using C2 Carbon, but I'm doing cars for free, so order Pro Classic to save money. Will I notice a difference with the install? Not much, a little bit. There'll be differences like color tone, shrinking will be a little bit different. But you're doing all the same things. You're just gonna notice like working with different materials. But it's hard to explain because they're similar enough. What's the dryer sheet for? So it keeps it tacked to the window. But if I lift it and then set it back down, well, now it's just floating. So it acts as a tack surface only where I put pressure down. See, now it holds. See? And then this is still floating on the window. Okie dokie. Oh, you're gonna make me. They will. Why would you want that? It makes it easier to shrink. God, I never understand why they put the poles in the back. Why would they put the poles in the back? And then when you pull the seat release, sometimes they don't just stay loose. Well, at least they had a snow pusher there, that helped. Oh, and don't tell me you're okay, cool. At least they didn't have the peg in there too. Removable headrests. I haven't had that in a minute. Is dyed film not good to use compared to what you recommend? GeoShield has a great dyed film called Pro Classic. Dyed film gets a bad rap because it's the oldest, longest type of window film. And when window film was super new, the dyes would fade and turn purple. That's where your classic purpley window tints come from. But just like anything, there's good and bad versions of it. And that usually comes down to being the cheapest stuff I could get my hands on. So, if you just see a roll of dyed film and one of them's $250 and the other one's $100, they are both dyed films. One of them is probably going to last longer than other ones. Color tone, clarity, longevity. But I bet you both of them are going to say they're amazing, and that's what confuses people, is it's harder to show the differences. But when you tint windows, you start to see those differences really bad. What benefits do window film companies give installers? Most of them, not much. You order a roll of film, you get your roll of film. Some of them have more marketing awareness. Some of them have some integrated programs that help. A lot of them are just general contact support. And if you have questions, they will answer. That's also because like competition really grew. So like certain brands will have some type of, they might have some type of like territory, some kind of company rep for that specific area that can be a little bit more helpful in theory. A lot of sales reps don't know any more than just trying to sell you something. For dryer sheets, yes, we literally take the dryer sheet. Ooh, I don't like this. We take the dryer sheet, we wet it down, and we smear it. Huh? Okay. Good luck. Oh, really? Maybe you got me sick. Yes, clay bar on the defroster lines. It just helps. You see that? There's like a tarnish that builds up on the lines because they'll be like silver or copper. They oxidize. Took me a long time to learn that because I took a clay bar to it and I didn't understand what was going on. But it helped. And now I kind of know, oh, it's metal. Metal oxidizes, or tarnishes, or corrodes, depending on the metal. So it can just help it stick a little bit better. Always hard for me to avoid bubbling over the heat lines. Like bigger bubbles or like really small stuff? Okay, well I guess if we're gonna use this, we're gonna use it. Yeah, that's what I thought. At least you don't need as much of it. Really small. It'd be worth posting a picture in our Facebook group. The 313tint.com Facebook group. Because it could be a couple things. It could just be dirt. My other thought is it might just be air off of the defroster lines, and that would be more how you're squeegeeing. But if it's lots of little dots, then dots are typically dirt. My tint didn't have the clear liner to peel off. Well, if it was not static cling, it definitely did. They all have them unless they're specifically static cling. I'll watch people try and, like new people when they learn, they'll have a hell of a time trying to peel the liner. It's there. All right, nice. All right. Slim sweep is going to be perfect for back here. So this is just a film spreader. We just use it to help evenly spread out the film before we hit it with a harder squeegee. But watch. I'm gonna get this bit out first, and then down here. Dang. That third brake light's like perfect to show that. So when I squeegee out, I go straight along the defrosters as much as I can. Nice firm pass. And again, down here, as much as I can. Straight along the defrosters. The defrosters can let air back in. And so early on, you can go across. You just want to do whatever you can to mitigate any air smearing across the window. But while everything's wet, you still get a little leniency with that, but as it starts to tack up, like within a couple minutes is really all you got, depending on the film, depending on the window. To just make sure all that air has been pushed out. It's probably over here. There it is. Little water there. Got to make sure that's pressed out. Oh, good. That's all pressed out. I thought I saw, but that's not. That's on top. Sweet. So this. See these little, like, want to get the light on them just right. Not as good as pushing with my left hand while I'm holding a camera. So I'm going to do this. Push extra hard. Make a couple of like diagonal sweeping passes here. And now, much, much, much better. That's what we like to see. What? Was that a job interview for an installer? And they had me tint a Tesla Model X. Never tinted a frameless, didn't do so well. Dude, a Model X is such an outlandish vehicle. It's like, oh, you want a tint? Here's a Corvette. Like, yikes. It sounds like they just set you up for a hard time. Or maybe they just get a lot of them, and that's genuinely the type of shop that they are. But yeah, that vehicle, that windshield is crazy. That windshield is like harder than the Model 3 back window for sure. So yeah, if you never did a frameless before, any frameless would have given you a harder time. They're just a little different. You gotta train around that stuff. Been practicing on rock roast carbon and ceramic. What are your thoughts on them? I have no real want to use one of those films. It's the cheap alternative to Tint X or Lexan. There's a post in our Facebook group. Somebody had it on their truck for 3 months and it turned a rose color, which was kind of funny. But I don't buy the absolute most expensive film that I can find. There's films that are more expensive than Geo. But my personal go-tos are films that you couldn't make a better window film. There's no trade-off in performance for going with a more expensive roll of film. What you're getting is brand recognition. And then there's some that are that'll probably be a little less expensive than Geo that again are pretty damn good films. They're just going to be alternatives. And then there's more recognizable brands like 3M, Lumar, XPEL. They're going to have premiums on all their films. They're just going to be way more expensive because they've earned it. But then I have to try and justify their pricing to my customers. And at the end of the day, I kind of see where we're at. And going with a higher tier brand would not get me any more business. I'm still in disbelief that this is actually the shape of the sunroof. But this should fit. They just did a rectangle. Tinting a Model Y the same as the X to practice? No. But you'll get, like, on the front doors, that'll be very similar. Back doors are gullwing on the Model X, and the windshield is dramatically different on the Model Y versus the Model X. Just look at pictures of them. So you'll learn basic frameless. I get way more Model Ys than I ever got asked about doing a Model X. I just don't get asked about Model X's hardly at all. But the X windshield, I would charge more just to do a Model X windshield than I would most cars. Are the seals tight on this one? I mean, yes and no. They are. They're like the K series, like the K4s and 5s from Kia. So they're wider and a little bit tighter. But we still did them that way, and I didn't have really any trouble with it. I guess that's in part to thank for the gel that we just used. I need a new wax paper is what I need. Oh, this got wet, so it disintegrated. Where's a liner? Oh, any update on the shade changing film? Oh yeah, that video. It did. I posted a YouTube post about it as like a follow-up. I didn't actually make like a follow-up video. It worked, but I left it on over the next month, and it was just goofy. So it would fade to clear. The color would completely fade out of it when it was sitting out in the sun. So it would work, vehicle got hot, and then the color was just gone. When the glass cooled back down, the color came back. So it was weird to me that a ceramic heat rejecting film that shifts in color, heat is its enemy. Where it worked the best was you park it in a garage, and then when you drive it out into the sun, it would work as advertised. But it changed shade so rapidly that it was annoying. I was not a fan of it. Like any shadows, if the sun wasn't directly on it, it fades again. So it wasn't like, oh, it starts getting darker and then it kind of stays that way for an extended period of time and then starts to slowly fade back. No, it's like on, off within like 15 seconds or so. It could completely go from like the lightest to the darkest, and it would change probably faster if the sun was like really shining hard on it, like noon sun. But you can buy, they're available, you can buy them. They come in a variety of colors and shades now, but they're just not really proven. And they come with a lot of trade-offs. So it's UV activated. So if you have laminated front doors, which a lot of nicer cars do, it's not going to transition at all. That also means no windshields are going to transition. I've tried. It doesn't work. So just like my transition eyeglasses, they don't change while I'm driving in the car. All the UV is blocked. Quick question. Well, as long as it's quick. No slow questions here. Yeah, shadows were extra annoying. So even little things that you wouldn't think of, like sun's at an angle, your trim is casting a bit of a shadow here. So the sun can be facing this window, and then you see a gap, clear as day, a really annoying gap here. And then sun is shining here, window, shadow, perfect hole cut out for that shadow there. But those shadows are moving. So it's constantly shifting that hole in your tint. It's like if it changed with just general UV and then held for longer, I think it would be much better. Like it would change over the course of like 4 or 5 minutes and then hold for a while. But sun's facing you, you start rounding a corner, and all of a sudden these windows are now fading to clear and those ones are starting to get darker. Like, yeah, it was it was obnoxious. That and since I've looked into it, I imported a roll of film, but the roll itself was like I was gonna do these cool sample cards and stuff, but the roll of film itself was $1,200, and then I got hit with a $400 import tax. So it's just, extremely expensive. So, I don't think it's quite there. Same thing with people are getting hit with videos about electrochromic tint again, and it's like it's not here. It's not good. It's too expensive. Maybe sometime in the future, but now it's so easy for short videos to go viral. If they see somebody saying like, "Do you want your car to change colors with the push of a button?" Boom, there you go. And then they order something and it's just a complete scam. That's happening all the time now. Where'd my tool belt go? Oh, wow, that was pretty obvious. I recently switched to tint slip. I noticed. Oh, what film? What film were you using, or are you using, and what soap were you using before you switched? But I can tell you exactly what's going on with tint slip. I feel like I have to revisit baby shampoo again. Because I've learned stuff since Tint Slip, baby shampoo. Time has gone on. Adhesives have gotten aggressive, and yeah. It's not. Glues are not as simple as they used to be. So, Tint Slip and other window film solutions will have less what are called surfactants. Surfactants is basically this. They help a soap stick to where you spray it. So the more surfactants, the more even that soap is going to just lay on the window. But it also can hang around too long and cause the film to not stick in position. But when you touch soap, you know how it just clings to your skin? Those are the surfactants in that is what causes that to happen. So Tint Slip was made with less surfactants. It was made at a time that Apex was rolling away from windshields, and GeoShield was really trying to solve that problem. So they didn't want to have a soap that impacted all the other films negatively and accounted for that Apex issue. So they wanted, like, you always want your soaps to let your film slide, but too much of it and they never stick in place. And you just have that annoying circus to deal with. This isn't quite right. Or it's backwards. Oh no, that is. Hang on. Ooh, this is such a tight fit here. We might have to cut one of these by hand. They don't give me much space on the sides. Honestly, why I prefer not to do sunroofs. It depends on the sunroof, though. If they give you space, they're easy. If they don't give you much space, then they're a pain in the ass. So, soaps can be a problem. Or, yeah, the soap with more surfactants can be an issue. So Tin Slip was made with just less surfactants, but it worked really well with their films to help the film slide. But what we also find is there's just windows that you spray, and they essentially have some type of film or coating there that causes the film to just roll off the glass. Or I mean stick really aggressively. Sorry, I'm cutting film at the same time. It causes the soap to run off the glass, and your slip solution just doesn't hang around. It just beads and falls off the window. So if you take a torch and then spray the window again, a lot of times your soap will just sheet evenly, and that'll help. But Geo is such a tacky film. Please tell me this didn't go under the film. It would be the worst. Oh, it did. Yikes. How do you get that out? Little rubber shit, you. Of course you did. I had this little overhang area. I'm gonna see if I can now pull this back and get that out. Oh, wait, no, that wasn't it. That was the film. Fucking rubber. God, that gets so annoying. There we go. And what do I spray? Gel? Oh shit. Okay, that's kind of cool. Dang. Let's go over to the other side and fix that side up too. Gel's fucking crazy, man. Did my ES looks incredible. Couldn't have done it without you. Oh, good job. Oh, you had a newer. You're here in like the last stream, right? I talked about pulling the seals on your ES. Is that right? Is that you? Did you do that? That was you. Look at that. Oh, good job. Hell yeah. That's sweet. See, it was not scary to pull your seals, right? Just loosened the door panel, snuck the film right in. Oh, you didn't remove the seal? I'd still pull the seal. Dang, dude. You're more of a window tinner than you think. Wow, nice job. I'd still pull them. But you're most of the way there, so they're pretty easy to pull. But nice job. That's awesome. Brake light came out. That's cool. Wow. Trying to make sure I got this sunroof right. Let me clean off the outside and take a look. Came out near perfect, and I was expecting the worst. Oh, that's so cool. Nice job. Trying to see if these are gaps or not. Oof. think they are. Okay. It's real hard to tell in here, but I think on a sunny day you would see it. It's even hard to just wipe them clean enough to show it. As far as I can tell, I think there's a very slight hairline gap on some of the areas that we trimmed because this rubber actually is flush with the border. I got a little space back here and a little space here, but what I think we have to do is redo this and just trim that back a little bit more, or at all, because I didn't do that the first time. I thought I had a little bit of space. I plotted the pattern. I didn't really look that close at it. So in that case, we do something like this. Just create a little notch, and then also make sure you can run your blade behind it, and then you'll effectively just tuck in the film a little bit. It's like a really annoying quarter window. Make sure you don't get any of those like little annoying spots to come out like this. You see that this little piece? Sometimes you can get that underneath the film. That's what I pulled out earlier. I have a knack for tinting. Just takes a lot of patience and a plan, steady hands. Yeah. Some people genuinely do. I didn't take as close of a look as I should have. Because most sunroofs, they'll come close on the sides, but they'll give you a little bit of space. I didn't realize there's just no space on this edge. So we're just freeing that up a little bit. C2 ceramic and baby soap. I bought a bottle of baby shampoo. I'm gonna revisit it. It's been a long time since I've used it. My problem when I first started using Geo was it didn't matter how much baby shampoo that I used, it would just stick. And I just know they still like teach with baby shampoo. But I'm just gonna revisit it. But the whole reason we came out with Tint Slip was they started recommending, they're like, use Fusion All Type, use this soap, use that soap. And it's like, I would send videos. I'm like, I'm trying. I used like a shit ton of soap. And it's just that no matter what I was doing, the film was just like locking to the glass. And so I effectively wanted a stronger baby shampoo. Because I'm not a hater against baby shampoo. It just, when I switched to Avery, it stopped working. And then same thing with Pro Classic and Pro Nano. They get the same type of like extremely sticky bullshit. And it's like, oh my God. This is incredibly frustrating to work with. Oh, do you know what's so funny about this too? Look, sunroof notes literally popped up. Rubber gaskets on the left and right margins creates minimal margins. They tried to warn me. I just like didn't look at it like a pop-up. That's my bad. They tried. They tried to warn me. You think I have an F-350 sunroof coming out? I can't say for sure, but I would expect that to be really straightforward. But I was really impressed with the gel. Gel's been great. Okay. So let's clean this off one more time. Let's get it installed. See if we have to trim anything. Hopefully not. Hopefully we got enough to sneak in there. Let's go back further. There we go. I peeled my rear window tint back off for one single hair, got it, and went back perfect. Nice. Love when that happens. So disheartening when you have one small imperfection that ruins the entire piece. What I've noticed with gels is they are a breath of consistency and cleanliness in a world where you try and be super perfect and you're just like, that should have turned out better than it did. And then you feel like you have to redo it. But you just like, okay, well, if I'm doing everything quote unquote right, and then I'm still having these issues, like, what the hell? It's crazy how much more consistent or easier that they've made certain things. But the one I'm using today is a little bit, quite a bit thicker. Works really nicely. And on this one, I'll usually get some freezing in the seals. So when you tuck it in the side, it likes to grab the glass. So I didn't have that problem today, but I'm not going to say it's ruled out yet. So I want to just see how like the next handful of cars go and see if it just slides better inside the edges extremely tight margins on this one. I think their pattern's spot on though. Actually, if you listen to what they said. Freed up around the edges. You don't have to trim it back much at all, but it's definitely worth trimming back. Trying not to jinx myself. But the first pattern I was able to get to like all lay down, even with the edges that the way they were. I just didn't realize they trimmed a small gap. Dude, that's what I'm saying about the gel though. Holy shit. It like pushes and holds the edges better. So anything that we would have build up around the edges kind of gets pushed out, and then that gel starts to hold the film tight to the window so it doesn't just like vacuum water and dirt back into it. Dude, it's crazy. So on the first go, when I trimmed that sliver, what had happened was there was this small little rubber piece, and I was able to pull the film back at least and get it completely out. Yeah, I've been super happy with the gel. I've said for a little while I wouldn't do a windshield without it. But we're coming into spring and summertime, and I'm running into, you know, the usual stickage in the seals. And it's, if I don't have to worry about that anymore, that'd be great. Only corners or whole glass panel. I think for the sake of like cleanup, you don't necessarily have to coat the whole thing. But it's up to you. I still see it more of a, it primarily helps with the edges because it's a barrier. But shit, if you just have your windows sticking somewhat aggressively, then like misting it, just try it on a window and see how you like it. There's just it suspends. So like the point of it with PPF is you still have your slip solution, but gel suspends your slip solution and keeps like that keeps the film from just tacking because it's so runny. So we're doing the exact same thing with window film. It acts as a barrier, but it also can just help suspend your slip solution. So it'll give it time to do what it's supposed to do. So the ways that we typically deal with it is you torch the window or you add more soap, and that compensates for the stickiness. Because the glues are pressure sensitive, and they're very aggressive, and they want to grab the window. So as soon as you push the water out of the way, it just doesn't want to hold anymore. Or, sorry, it wants to grab too much. Or you just leave it sitting you're just trying to get it in place, and you're like, why the fuck is it sticking so bad? Like, then you just add more soap, right? But if we can just have a spray that not only helps keep the film installation cleaner and easier, but it also helps the film slide a little bit better for longer. Hell yeah, dude. Alrighty, well, we got that one done. This one is all set. Alrighty, dudes. I'm gonna hop off here for now. I have a Jetta this week. I'm trying to remember what's on the schedule for tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. But I'm gonna just finish getting this cleaned up. So I'm gonna hop off here for now. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you later.